Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board today. Thanks for watching YouTube TV, listening Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. To start this hour, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line, as we do every Wednesday at this time, with the great Sal Paolantonio from ESPN. Sal Pal, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing great now that I'm on Follow the Money on Wednesday afternoons. Love it. Thank you guys for having me on the show. What a wide open NFL it is. Unbelievable. Here we got 4 games left, and there's not a single team that has clinched a playoff berth. I've never seen anything like this, so wide open. Never seen it.
It's absolutely crazy. It really is. So you came on last week, and I think we replayed your piece on what you said about the biggest issue here with Philadelphia being the quarterback, like 3 or 4 times leading into the game on Monday night. And then he proceeds to have the worst game of his career. But as bad as he was, they have other issues. The receivers were not great. And what have you found when you look at this offensive line this year for Philadelphia?
Well, the offensive line, obviously, the number one thing is no Lane Johnson. When the team does not have Lane Johnson in the starting lineup, their winning percentage is 38%. When they have Lane Johnson in the starting lineup, it's over 70%. So the loss of Lane Johnson is huge. And their pass block win rate was 6th best in the National Football League last year. 6th best. This year, it's 20th. It's in the bottom half of the league. They are not protecting Jalen Hurts. And they're not protecting him on the tackles. That's the biggest issue. I know Jordan Mailata had one of his worst games in his career. He was just a turnstile, and then he couldn't hold up, so he was holding. He had one bad holding call in the red zone, but he had 2 that weren't called and could have been called very easily. And Fred Johnson is just not Lane Johnson. I mean, Fred Johnson's a good swing tackle in the National Football League, somewhat capable. But Lane Johnson's going to Canton. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and they miss him. And here's my big problem with what the Eagles coaching staff didn't do last week. They didn't do what the Buffalo Bills did when they went into Acrisure Stadium 2 weeks ago. The Bills were without their 2 starting offensive tackles for the first time in Sean McDermott's career. So they put 2 tight ends on the field, and they went heavy. And they did traps, and they did counters, and they did quick pitches and reverses. They did all the stuff you need to do to get creative in the run game, and they ran for 246 yards against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, unheard of. So you can do things to help yourself when you don't have your starting right tackle. You need to go heavy and get creative, and the coaching staff did not do that.
And I have given up. I don't think they can fix this offense. It doesn't look remotely close to last year. The one bright spot was Barkley went off. Also, this has been said by many people, and you would know this. It's a hostile crowd. They're the defending champs. Fire Kevin Chance at the last game. Moving forward, I think it's going to be a home field disadvantage, especially if they come out slow in these games and even a playoff game.
They're tight at home. I agree with you. They're tight at home. And it's tough to circle the wagons when this crowd is not behind you. I will agree. It is definitely, they're in defensive mode posture when they're home. And I thought last week that they would break out. They play in LA really well over the years. It'd be nice. It's always good when you can get the fellas on a road trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're feeling like, okay, we're on a road trip. It's us against the world. And then and it comes back down to the quarterback. And it comes back down to the quarterback, even when they're doing well offensively. And the last drive, gentlemen, in that game on Monday Night Football is indicative of what they can do and what they can't do. So they're driving down the field under duress, hostile environment, in overtime. And they're driving down the field. And the quarterback looks good. And then on a 1st and 10 play, guys, that was not 3rd and 10. That was not 3rd and 14. That was 1st and 10. He's flushed out of the pocket to his right, which is his good side. Dallas Goedert is staring him in the face wide open. No one's within 10 yards of their star tight end, Dallas Goedert. He decides to throw it deep down the sideline and try to thread the needle between two D-backs. The ball is tipped and intercepted. And all he had to do was dump it off to Goedert. I've seen Goedert turn his head like that, go up the sideline, get 15 to 16 yards. What a bad decision, indicative of the good, the bad, and the ugly of this offense and this quarterback.
Yep, well said. No, I want to say that they're going to absolutely smash the Raiders this weekend, but I can't really do that with confidence. What do you make of this matchup now?
Well, the Eagles are 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 games as double-digit favorites.
Oh. There you go.
Yeah,
That's great. And it's Kenny Pickett now, too.
4 straight Eagles games have gone under the total. 4 straight. And, I sent you guys in the producing booth there a number that's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So in the last 5 weeks, the Raiders have scored 7 touchdowns. The Eagles have scored 8. The Raiders are last in the league. The Eagles are second to last in the league in touchdowns scored. The Raiders are 2-11 with Geno Smith. The Eagles have the Super Bowl MVP quarterback with the most expensive offense in the NFL. They've scored 1 more touchdown than the Raiders in the last 5 weeks.
Incredible. Great numbers, and that tells you how bad it is. Sal Pal, our guest, a Hall of Famer on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow the money. Paulie and Mitch, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. What do you make of the Rivers story? He's your age, 44 years old, coming out of retirement.
Hey, don't knock grandfathers. We're nothing better than being a grandpa. But I'll tell you this, here's the thing. They're out there and they want to decapitate you, man. They want to take you out. And, I have all the love in the world for Phillip Rivers. I've known him his entire career. I love the way he approaches his life. He is a true family man. He is grounded in faith. He loves the game of football. He's a great teammate. He's all of that. But you haven't played NFL football in 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just don't know how he's going to do it. So I'm not covering the Eagles game this week. I'm getting shipped out of town. I'm going to Buffalo at New England, the game of the week.
It is.
It is the game of the week in Foxborough. I haven't been in Foxborough since Tom Brady was there in 2019. It's been a long time, and I'm back. I covered all 10 of his Super Bowls, and I'll tell you, this game is so important. This is an important landmark game, I think, in NFL football. Because if you're the Buffalo Bills, just think about it. For all those years, you were looking up at the Patriots with Tom Brady. And now you're looking up at the Patriots with Drake May. Mm-hmm. You already lost to them at home. There's no way in the world you want to get swept by Drake May if you're Josh Allen. If you're Josh Allen, you do not want to wake up Monday morning in Buffalo being swept by Drake May. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Matt, you're spot on.
No, you're right.
By the way, what'd you make of the movement? The look-ahead number had New England as a small favorite, call it like 1.5. And then when it reopened,
the Bills are now 1.5, right? The Bills are 1.5?
Yeah, and here at Circa, it's a pick'em, but other books have it Buffalo minus 1.5.
Yeah, and the over/under I see is 50.5. So people expect points to be scored in this game, but here's the thing: the Bills are 0-3 against the spread in their last 3 division games. They have not performed well within their division, and I don't know. I've always seen Sean McDermott and Josh Allen play small in big games, mm-hmm. or do things that in big games, like against Kansas City, where the wind was on their racket, so to speak, and they had a lot of unforced errors. So in this game, I think it's going to come down to unforced errors. Now, James Cook leads the AFC with 10 100-yard games from scrimmage. But, and there's always a but, He also leads the NFL in 6 lost fumbles, twice as many as the second guy on the list. So if James Cook does not fumble the ball, if he protects the football, he can control this football game. I believe he can control this football game if he does not fumble the ball.
Okay.
But the Patriots will be going after the ball. I like the Bills a little bit in this game. I do. Only because I don't think that Josh Allen wants to be swept by Drake May.
Rams 6 against the Lions. Quickly.
I like the Rams.
Okay.
I do. The Rams, they're at home. They play well at home. I like the Rams quite a bit. And I like the Ravens at the Bengals.
Okay.
I like the Ravens at the Bengals. It's Ravens minus 2.5 from the last time I saw. But here's the thing. Pittsburgh was so lucky on Sunday. Two red zone possessions. One overturned touchdown, which was clearly a touchdown.
I agree.
And 100%. And then the second one where the ball is tipped and DeAndre Hopkins could have made an easy catch in the end zone for the winning touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson was absolutely despondent in that game. Afterwards, I was in the locker room. John Harbaugh put his arm around him, talked to him, and said, "We got 4 games left. We will bounce back." I think the Ravens bounce back in this game.
Very good. Sal Pal, you're the best. Thanks for the time as always. Have a great game then on Sunday between those two teams.
Thanks for having me on the show, gentlemen.
Yep. Up
You're the
next,
best.
and worst teams in the NFL, NBA against the spread. The best team to the over is in action tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Time now for Mike Palm's weekly appearance. Wednesdays with the Maestro, VP of Circa Las Vegas, the Golden Gate, and the D. Mike, good to see you as always. How are you today?
Hello, Mitch. How are you? Great to be here.
Not too bad. What'd you make of this news with Michigan firing their head coach today?
I was just reading it on my phone as I was walking from the D down here for this. So don't know much of the details yet. Said staff member, but we had our favorite Biff Poggio coach him in the bowl game.
Yeah. Okay. So we're trying to come up with who Michigan should go after now that he is out, because they are. What would you put? Fill in the blank with Michigan as a top what program in the country?
20.
Yeah. Paulie and I said about 8 to 10.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe that's a little aggressive, but they should be with their funds. They're playing Underwood, paying him $12 million here to play.
They're a basketball school, though.
Well, evidently
That
they
team
are
is
now.
pretty darn good.
Oh, they're amazing. But they should, in theory, be able to get like any guy that they would want for this job. Would you not agree with that?
As long as they're going to pay.
Right, and yeah.
But it's the same. It's the same problem as Penn State. Although going into Penn State for Matt Campbell's behind the 8 ball with the transfer portal already.
Right.
People leaving out because of the way they handled the whole thing. It's the same thing, though. I guess it's in your DNA that you're going to beat Ohio State, but you're going to have to beat Ohio State, and maybe now you're going to have to beat Indiana.
True.
I know it's not Big Ten East or West or Legends or Leaders anymore, but that's your neighbor, and you play them every year because that's one of your special games that you always have. So at some point, you're going to have to be able to, knock your head against Ryan Day for a while until you can be able to beat him.
We're getting a bunch of thoughts from viewers, listeners on X right now, at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard. Somebody brought up DeBoer, and they said, doesn't it feel like Michigan's a much better fit for him than Alabama?
He got his team to the playoffs. So, I always say that coaches that come from outside of the South struggle in the SEC. And DeBoer's a Northwest guy, right? And I think people take them at a distance, the fan bases, because they're not from the South. And you could say, well, he's from West Virginia, but that's about as much South as you can get for that, where that is
Yeah, right.
in the country geographically. So I didn't even think of that. I'm trying to figure out who the staffer is. That's what I took out of the story.
Yeah.
How about
Brain's gonna
I throw
wander.
this out there, and I know it was a failed experiment here with geriatric Pete Carroll, but how about Chip Kelly? Is Chip Kelly totally damaged goods now?
I don't think he can coach it anymore.
No? You think he himself is a bad play caller now? He's
I mean, he's screwing up the play calls with the Raiders. That report came out. I don't
You
know.
had good stuff on that.
Yeah, I think I would. I don't think I'd hire Chip Kelly for any job anymore.
Okay.
Not even an offensive coordinator.
Really?
I would not. I'm like, great ride, buddy. I loved him at Oregon. He never should have left Oregon, but I think the ship has sailed on
Okay.
that.
He was calling plays that they didn't practice.
Yeah, he was mixing them up.
Yeah.
I hope they don't do that to Phillip Rivers this week.
Well, evidently, right? He
He's
ran
ready,
the same
he's
play
ready,
clock, coaching his kids' high school team. How about
Yeah,
Chris Peterson on X? What kind of accent would Brian Kelly bring up to the Michigan football
How
press
about
conference?
Chris Peterson?
Oh,
He just doesn't want to do it anymore,
he
does
just
he?
said, no, that's it for me.
He could probably had many of these jobs along the way.
Oh, he could have. That guy would
I
have
think
been.
he's a pretty attractive resume.
Yeah, not bad.
Huh?
I think that he was the best coach in the country. Right there with Saban when he was at Boise State and Washington. Peterson was incredible.
USC went Sark over Peterson. Bad move.
Yeah, I would say so.
Will Michigan have to get a name? Will they have to get a name coach?
That's a good question. Because,
They're up against it with the timing.
yeah,
I think the guy at Arizona is pretty good. And I'm not talking about Fish that went to Washington. I'm talking about the guy at San Jose that went to Arizona. I was impressed with the job he did this year.
They wanted him fired last year.
Yeah.
Private Plane Wayne wants Fish. He already chimed in.
Yep.
Did he?
He
Yeah.
did? Did he say Fish?
He did.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know because who would be like the next Kurt Signetti? That's what these programs are going to look for. Or that is going to be
Look from coming from a group of five.
yeah, a proven winner no matter where he was at. We need that guy to turn us around, turn us into Indiana. Good luck with that. So the bowl game against Texas is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, now they can back out. We don't have our.
Do you?
The bowls are done now.
They
It's
have
over.
to be,
It's
right?
over. No, but these schools don't care. They don't have a coach. They don't like it. They don't. I was listening to Amal's buddy Rick Neuheisel, who said within 3 years we'll have a 24-team playoff and no bowl games. That'll be it.
Yeah.
And I tend to think he may be right.
He also brought up that they keep the bowl games. It's going to be to start the season,
Yeah, the first week of the year.
first week of the year.
Which you used to go and do and play it. They play a game in New Jersey. They still play a game in Atlanta always, right? In
Right.
Dallas and this and that. Maybe that's it. Maybe you have your big intersectional games the first week and you bring all your fans to them.
Sure, right, because they're traveling now more
Yeah.
and more to these neutral site games
Mm-hmm.
anyway to begin the year, and so that'd be a way to, I guess, keep them. We've been talking about this throughout the show, most memorable betting moments of the year. We've had a lot of examples.
Yeah.
We brought up some. The audience obviously chiming in. What stood out to you?
I think the predominant story is a theme, and so it's several moments, but it's the cheating. To me, is the most memorable thing. It's the Indians pitchers, it's the NBA guys, it's these college first halves. I think that's the overriding story, and you can piece them together as different moments, right? But it first comes out as Luis Ortiz with the Indians, and then it's Clase, and then it's all this stuff. Did you know the NBA is putting restrictions on bets?
I did.
Oh, you did? I
Yeah.
just found out today because we got an email about it. I didn't know.
I think that it was Purdom or somebody who had that story that they were going to limit.
So-
well, it was baseball for sure. Was going to be limiting bets.
Baseball's doing it with the pitches.
Right.
Individual pitch results, you can't bet more than 200. But now the NBA has come out. And we're not an official provider of the NBA, but Sports Radar is, and we use their data. So Sports Radar got that and sent to us. You cannot offer bets on turnovers, on fouls, committing fouls, or on missing free throws. The NBA is not allowing that amongst their partner providers. So
Did they
that's
ever-
the next step.
Okay, did they ever bring up like limiting where like it doesn't matter who it is, nobody can get more than like 500 or 1,000 on a prop?
I thought the next thing to come would be about how much minutes a guy played. And you can't offer props on guys that average less than 10 minutes a game or something. That'd be the way I attack it. But I get these things. These things are very easy to throw. Committing a turnover, committing a foul, and missing a free throw. They're very manipulable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, it's right. I mean, because Porter never would have been on the board
No.
under that scenario. Guys who can't get 10 minutes of action, you're not going to put these fringe guys on the board for anything.
I think the Thanksgiving Day Massacre has to be one. I know it's fresh in our minds,
No,
but
it
I mean,
qualifies.
all 4 games, the dog wins, and of course, what it did to our contest. I think Dave Ross's. Of course, I'm partial to our invitationals, and you guys have known. You guys have made runs. You guys have won money on that. Dave's run with Toronto,
Has to be up there.
right? That's
It's
a
over.
great story of the year.
It's over.
Yeah,
It's
it's a great
4-2 in
story
the
of the-
8th, 4-3 in the
Yeah,
9th,
yeah.
1 out, nobody on.
great,
Pages
painful story.
catch. Oh,
The
brutal.
Pajes catch, I mean,
Where'd he come from?
I didn't even see him coming.
Yep.
All I knew was Kiki was not getting that ball.
No,
you
he
could
was
see
not.
from the first shot to the outfield, when you pan to the hit, there's no shot Kiki's catching.
World Series is over.
It's over, right?
Yep. How about Hoffman giving up the game-tying home run?
What? Just
Absolute gut punch.
Slider after slider after slider after slider. If they throw the guy a fastball, he hasn't had a hit in a month.
What was Big Earn? 300-1 MVP?
Yeah.
Once we went later in the series?
Yeah, he was going to win the MVP.
That was the
him.
walk-off hit.
Oh, that's true.
We had that.
Yeah.
There's another
Meanwhile,
one.
Chris Bennett cashed a nice ticket at the Westgate on Yamamoto, 40-1 from before the series started.
for the MVP.
They were 40-1 on Yamamoto. We were 10-1.
You were 10. You were 10. They opened 40.
Because Chris makes the odds.
Yeah.
And he said the people don't think a pitcher can win. A pitcher can win.
Yeah. I brought up the French Open final, Sinner and Alcaraz. That's triple championship point, and Sinner was minus 50,000 in play at DraftKings.
That's a great call. How about how badly the market had Notre Dame Miami to the playoff?
It has to be on the
Minus
list.
3,000, minus 1,800, minus 1,400. I was looking at everything that night. Some smart people triple pop, quadruple pop Miami all along.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. Usually the betting market gets ahead of the stuff.
Yeah.
They were never ahead of it on Notre Dame. Nothing leaked out.
No, nothing leaked out.
If it did, that number was going to go from 10 or 11 to 1 to miss to it was going to drop big time. You know that.
Sure.
We're down to 10. No chop this week. Are you surprised?
I think there's a couple like there were in Grandissimo that want to play this down further. You're at one. You're at almost 1.9 now.
Yeah.
Right. That's some nice money.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And you got. But you got pieces of teams, right, Paul? You understand that. You got 4 guys on a team. 3 of them want to chop, but 1 doesn't, and then it gets a little sticky.
How about this? There is one entry that won last year, still alive at least one that I know of. He came on the show. Wow. He's a young kid from New York, I believe. And he was on the show last year after he was one of the Circus Survivor winners, and now he is one of the 10 entries left. He and his partners. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable. That's awesome.
That's
good find, too.
Yeah.
VSiN Pro subscribers, exclusive access to all new AI player prop projections powered by OptAI, the trusted data source behind elite soccer analytics in the UK, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and the exclusive NBA player props as well. Compared directly to DraftKings lines, help you find value. Access it all with the VSiN Pro subscription. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Can't wait to hear what Mike has in store for the College Football Committee. As You Cannot Be Serious is coming up next on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
This hour is sponsored by Better Picks, daily fantasy sports app, where your sports knowledge turns into real cash fast. Download Better or visit better.app now. Sign up today, get your free money, and no deposit necessary.
Great hour on tap. Coming up in 15 minutes, incredible props on Oklahoma City. Matt Human's on the program, bottom of the hour, best bets for this week. And our in-pocket plays as well to close up shop. Right now we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. As a longtime friend of the show, sports better. He's got a Substack, Bets and Reps. You can find it there. He's also on X at Bets and Reps. Mike Montesano on the program. Hey, Mike, good afternoon. Good to see you again, pal. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
You bet. So you and I have been chatting over recent weeks about the Houston Texans. And we're like, okay, do we need to get ahead of this right now? Division, maybe a little AFC. You have a ton of bets on the Texans. When did you decide it was a good idea to get on board with this team? And what do you make of their numbers at the current prices?
Well, when you and I were texting a few weeks ago at 25-1, I think we were both jokingly saying, we need a little bit more than that. But then as the last couple of weeks, I've watched this defense play, and they've been outstanding. They resemble, to me, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens team, where their defense was amazing, led them to Super Bowl. Their offense was just average. And last Sunday, I finally had to pull the trigger. I jumped on them 11-1 at the time to win the AFC, and I think that number's gone. And I also took them to win the division I think literally when I saw Daniel Jones go down, I jumped on them to win the division plus 260, and they quickly went down to plus 150, I think, right after that.
So if there's a bet to be made still on the board for the audience, take us through this with DeMeco Ryans. Do you think that he is live to win Coach of the Year?
I really do. I mean, right now, if you look at their strength of schedule, they're number one. They've played the hardest schedule in the NFL this year, and they've kind of managed. He's managed it to the best he can because Mills was the backup for 3 straight games, and they won those games with him. They're 8-5 now. I mean, there's a path that they can win the division and win out and go 12-5. If they go 12-5. And some of the other teams falter, you're going to need a little bit of help from some of the other candidates. I think at 125-1 that I saw at one book today, and I think 80-1 at another book, it's worth some sprinkles on that.
Good recall with the comparison to the Ravens in 2000. Also, you like them laying 9.5 against Arizona this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona is just, they're shot. Defensively, they're atrocious. They can't stop anyone, and the Texans right now they're the number one defense. We've said it several times in the NFL. I don't think Arizona is faced a defense like that. Brissett can't move in the pocket. I think 9.5 is too short. I'd see at least a 2 touchdown win by the Tech. They are right now a freight train, and all systems go with them. You can't jump off of them right now.
Yep. So you still recommend plus 150 to win the division. How about the back end of the schedule?
I would recommend plus 150. Okay. Yep.
How about
plus 150? I mean, if you want to take a little bit of plus 550 to win the conference as well. If they get the 1 seed, they get a home game. Probably have to play the Bills in the first round, but you know they seem to have Josh Allen's number at home. So I just think right now that defense, you know, they're a top team in the AFC.
How about who they close with? Herbert? And they can't protect him. We watched what happened Monday night, and then could be old man Rivers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what those two teams are going to do to try to protect them against that defense. You know, right now, Ryans has got them playing at a high level. If they can, you know, win the Cardinals game, which I think they will pretty handily this week, you're looking at 4 wins coming up. I know they have to go to the Chargers, but, you know, Herbert's compromised, the offensive line's compromised, and then they do get the Colts at home. So they will win. I think they will go 4-0.
I'll give you another market that we should all be looking at, and that is just Super Bowl exactas, right? So if you missed the boat on anything Houston related, okay, well, it's too late to get them on some of these bets, obviously. However, if you think that Mike is spot on with this and you'd like to have some action, throw them on a ticket to play the Rams and or to play the Seahawks or whatever team that you might be the highest on in the NFC. I think that's one way that you have to go about this.
That's what I'm probably going to look at next. I want to see like Houston versus the Rams, Houston even versus Philadelphia. Even though they've been struggling, there's several ways. Just sprinkle a little on each, and you'll get better than, you know, plus 550 to win the AFC.
Okay, very good. How about guns up? Let's stay in Texas. Texas Tech 11-1 to win it all. State your case.
Well, right now, they're probably one of the most undervalued 4 seeds I think we've seen in a long time. They have a defense that is absolutely outstanding. You can't run against them. They've been blowing out teams left and right. I have an adjusted scoring margin formula that I use. It's kind of a nice predictor that you could, you know, predict national champions in the past. Right now, they're third, and they're a little bit behind Indiana, who's number 1. They have an offense, I think, an underrated offense. They've got Morton's is a solid quarterback. He just hasn't been able to put up those gaudy statistics, maybe like Mendoza or some of the others, because they haven't needed him to. But I really, really like Texas Tech to win the national championship. They're going to be a small favorite against Oregon when they beat Oregon, and then they might be small underdogs in the next 2 games. But that's worth a shot. I think 11-1 is where I got them at. Even plus 850 is worth a play.
All right, this is refreshing. Everyone's anti-group of 5. They don't want him in. We got 2 in. How about James Madison catching more than 3 touchdowns?
Well, James Madison, we'll look at a data point from earlier in the year when they played Louisville. And that, we could say, oh, it's just Louisville. Well, Louisville did beat Miami. And they played them pretty tough in that game. That was before James Madison really had any kind of offensive identity. They started to get an offensive identity. They have an amazing coach. We all know Bob Chesney's going to UCLA after this. He's a buttoned-up coach. I like buttoned-up coaches. And right now, I look at my ratings. I have the game at 18.4. I have an adjusted scoring margin model that I was just briefly talking about. It's at 18.6. I have a points per play model that it's at 17.6. So I'm getting the 21.5 in that one with a solid coach. And how much motivation does Oregon really have to really pour it on at the end? They just have to win. They don't need any style points in this one. They gotta win the game and move on. And I'm going to take a top coach in Bob Chesney getting the 21.5 on the road in this one.
All right, very good. I think you're maybe the first person I've heard make the case for James Madison, and I like that. Mike Montesano, our guest, he's on X at Bets and Reps. I think maybe the most fascinating first-round matchup is actually Miami and Texas A&M. I can't wait to watch this bad boy. And you have a bet on this one as well. Which side do you like?
Yeah, I jumped on the Hurricanes plus 3.5. I'm getting the hook in that one over the key number of 3. But, I was really impressed with Miami. Some may not think it's impressive. After they lost to SMU in a close one, they blew out their next 4 opponents. They kind of didn't take the foot off the gas. They needed to, obviously, for the committee to get them in as well. But all my ratings, I have Texas A&M minus 1.5 in this game. So if I'm getting the 3.5 points, and mostly it's because they're at home. Let's say I even gave another point for home field advantage. I would still have Miami catching that 3.5 points. But A&M, I was not impressed with their game against South Carolina. They should have lost that game. They needed a miracle comeback at the end. And we all know what happened in the Texas game. They just did not look good in the Texas game. So whereas one team's kind of rising, last couple games, take out the FCS game that A&M played, they're kind of descending a little bit. And it's tough to bet on Mario Cristobal. We all know that. But I'm going to take Texas. I'm going to take Miami of Florida plus the 3.5. They have an experienced quarterback, 6-year guy. They have a defensive line that's outstanding. And I like them a lot.
Oh, you're also into this. With the holidays around the corner and New Year's resolutions, how about a health and fitness tip?
Yeah, health and fitness tip. You want to enjoy yourself in the holidays. You want to have a couple cocktails, some eggnog. But I still think you need to stay on your daily routine. Okay, and one of those things that I do is I try to make sure I'm getting enough protein. As long as you're getting enough protein and you're trying to keep the sweets out of the mix, the excess carbs, the simple sugars, things like that. Keep your protein levels up. Eat your eggs, your pasteurized eggs. Eat your organic chicken, your grass-fed beef, and just really keep your protein levels high because during Christmas. I'll admit, being Italian, I'm going to eat a lot of pasta. I'm going to eat, a lot of carbs. But from now until then, and also make sure you're staying with your workout routine as well, whatever that may be, 4 or 5 times a week. Lifting, doing steady state cardio. If you like doing high intensity cardio, do that. I'm not a big high intensity cardio guy. Stay steady state, 30, 40 minutes walking each day. But just really don't abandon. If you are into health and fitness, everything, just like, I'm just going to wait till the New Year's and I'll start again. I don't believe in that. Start now.
That's a good tip. Definitely. You can follow him on X. He's at Bets and Reps. And again, the Substack is betsandreps.substack.com. Mike Montesano is his name. Thanks, Mike. Great spot, man. Enjoy the holidays. Don't have too many cookies in, okay?
No, and I did tell you, Mitch, on Cason Wallace, I swore I would never get back in the NBA Defensive Player of the Year market, but 50-1, I put a little dabble on it yesterday, so let's go Cason Wallace.
Here we go.
Good job.
Going to get tortured again. Thanks, Mike. Up next, incredible props on Oklahoma City.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes in Pocket Plays, and you won't believe who the favorite is to get the Michigan football job. Wow. Right now we go to the Progressive guest line. Matt Youmans joins the program, VSiN host. All right, let's start with this. You do a great job, obviously, every single week during the football season with the Friday Football Invitational. There is a new leader in the clubhouse. What the hell's going on with the contest here?
Well, the top two guys have hit a pothole the last couple of weeks. It was Chris the Bear Felica and Jason Jarvis on top, and Jarvis 3-11 the last 2 weeks, and the Bear went 1-6 last week. So the Boston Strangler, Chris Massaro, if you follow him on Twitter, you know why that's his nickname. He has now taken over the lead, and he sent me his jacket size. He said, "Get me fitted for the green jacket." Talk about a guy who's cocky and confident headed down the stretch. So we got a great race at the top. Those guys are outstanding handicappers. And Massaro has overtaken Jarvis and the Bear. And let's see, on this week's show, we've got Steve Fezzik, he's got 9 lives in this contest. He survived the cut the last couple of weeks, just barely. Frank Betty's going to be on the show. Frank Carulli and a cast of characters on this Friday show.
Oh, awesome. Frank B's the man. How surprised are you that the Denver, 10 wins in a row, and the Patriots are both home dogs?
Not that surprised, actually. Just a little bit surprised that the Broncos are 2.5-point home dogs. I thought that number might be like Packers 1 or even maybe around Pick'em. Not surprised that the Bills are favored over the Patriots because the Patriots won the first meeting in Buffalo. And both these teams have long win streaks. I know a lot of people think they're overdue to take a loss when you look at these two teams. So I'm tempted to play the Broncos and the Pats this week. But this is when, Mitch, you know this, you do a futures podcast with JVT each week. This is the time of year when your futures bets start to interfere with your betting a little bit because I've got the Broncos to win the AFC West, I think, plus 325, and the Patriots to win the AFC East at 5-1. I don't need to bet those two teams this week because if the Broncos win, they're probably going to win the division. And if the Patriots win, they're certainly going to win that division. So I really don't need to bet those home dogs. I would love to see them both win.
Yeah, I'll give you an example on that. So I think you and I are both heavy on the Rams to win the Super Bowl going back to many months ago in the offseason. I already bet the Seahawks next week plus 1.5 on Thursday night. I actually kind of hope I lose that bet because I want the Rams to get the 1 seed for our future bets, Matt.
Yeah, no question about it. So that's a sort of a hedge, but you're right. I've got the Rams. Bet them at 30-1 at Circa, I think at the end of April or beginning of May. What'd you get on that? I think you got about the same price.
Yeah, I
at
got
Westgate,
30. Yeah,
right?
30 at the Westgate.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do you make of that Rams number then? Lane 5.5 or 6? There's a 6 out there as well against the Lions this week.
Yeah, Superbook's actually got 6. So if you shop around a little bit, you can get that 6 at minus 108. And I do like the Lions a little bit in this game, and I have bet it. And the Lions got the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, 30.3 points a game. And look at their weapons with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and those wide receivers. The one weakness that the Rams have, and every team's got a weakness you can find. And I think the Rams' pass defense is a little bit of their weakness. Ranks middle of the pack in the NFL. I mean, the Rams are top 5 right now in scoring on offense and defense, so they don't have too many weaknesses. But you can beat them if you got a really competent pass offense. So I like that. And also there's a trend. You know, Evan Abrams of the Action Network does an awesome job with the trends each week. Steve Mackinnon at VSiN does as well. When the Lions are dogs of 4 points or more, the duo of Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, 17-3 against the spread. So Lions plus 6 my play there.
All right, we'll be breaking this down Monday night. A couple of weeks ago, looked like a dog matchup, but it's enticing now. Miami's hot, and Pittsburgh is in first place. Hopefully we got cannolis in the studio. Steelers laying 3. I'm with you on this one. I like the Steelers as well.
Yeah, the Steelers on Monday night, I decided to add that play because the DraftKings is -3, -120, at 3.5 pretty much everywhere else across the board. And I think it should be 3.5, but I'll lay the field goal here. How about, who wants to bet on Tua in cold weather? And it looks like that's what we're going to have Monday night in Pittsburgh. And Tua was not very good against the Jets last week either. How about Mike Tomlin, once again, in position to go 9-8? The Steelers got to get this win on Monday night. I've also got the Steelers over 8.5 wins, but I think they're going to get there. But how about this Monday night home trend too? The Steelers on Monday Night Football at home under Mike Tomlin, 11-1 straight up. And dating back to 1992, Pittsburgh is 22-1 straight up at home on Mondays. To me, this is also a fate of Tua and the Dolphins in cold weather.
Yeah, makes sense. No, that's an unbelievable stat. We agree on this one. I bet Roll Tide. I watched the first meeting. It was total domination against Oklahoma, but the Tide beat themselves with the silly turnovers. How about the playoff game?
Alabama pick them over Oklahoma. There's been a lot of talk about Bama doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs, but how about the Sooners? Do they deserve to be in the playoffs? If you look at the Tide, I mean, it's tough to be too enthusiastic because they did their best work in the middle of the season. They beat Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, and Tennessee over a 4-week stretch. So they're not playing their best football now, but they've been hearing a lot here about how they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. A lot of people are dumping on them. The only reason the Sooners are in is they won that game in Tuscaloosa 23-21 on November 15th. But I think that was somewhat of a fluke. You watched that game. Oklahoma had a long pick six. Ty Simpson passed for 326 yards, tied out game the Sooners 406-212. I was anti-Alabama last week. I was on Georgia in the SEC title game, but I'll roll with the Tide here in the revenge situation. I like these situations where the team that lost the first meeting was the home favorite and was the favorite and seeking revenge, and I think Alabama's going to get the Sooners here.
How about in the bowl game between Hawaii and Cal? You have 2 bets on this game, side and total. Who do you like?
This could be one of the best matchups of the entire bowl season, Christmas Eve in Honolulu. I'm going to be there for this. And you got 2 coaches, Nick Rolovich and Timmy Chang, who are prolific passers in the run-and-shoot offense in college. Do you think these guys are going to be conservative in this bowl game? Hell no. Especially when you got 2 young quarterbacks who like to cut it loose, Jaron Kiawe, Sagapatelli of Cal, and Micah Alahado of Hawaii. Sagapatelli passed for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. Cal beat SMU 38-35 in the regular season finale. Hawaii 6-1 at home this season, scoring an average of 30.4 points. Just a huge game for Hawaii. They really love to play in the Hawaii Bowl. I did play Hawaii +3 and over the total of 54. Now, also, this comes into play, the bowl nonsense. Here we go with this. Hawaii's top wide receiver, Jackson Harris, opted out. He entered the transfer portal. He is not going to play. That news came out today. So the total actually dropped from 55.5 to 54. But I don't think that's going to matter much because Nick Cynical, who was one of their top wide receivers coming into the season, had been banged up with injuries all year. He's good to go now. He's healthy, so he's going to take Harris's spot, and Hawaii's deep at wide receiver. So I think over 54 might even be the slightly better play here.
All right, little college basketball action tonight as well. Wisconsin, Big Ten matchup. I love how this conference is playing conference games like in early December. They're a very small dog on the road against Nebraska. You like the home team here. Why?
I do. And, Mitch, I was going to talk about some of the, surprises and disappointments in college hoops. And speaking of futures, you and I are stuck with a loser on Kentucky.
Oh, yes, we are.
I cannot believe how bad Kentucky is playing. And I know Mark Pope's depressed about it. They got a $22 million roster, and the team's going in the tank. Kentucky has beat 6 cupcakes and lost only against the 4 legitimate opponents they played. Circle January 27th, Vanderbilt hosting Kentucky. Vandy's one of my surprise teams in college hoops right now. I'll talk about that a little bit more on the show later in the week. We're going to be out of time. But Nebraska is another surprise team. Huskers are 9-0. Tonight, we're going to find out if they're for real. I actually like this Whiskey team quite a bit, too. Greg Gard's changed the way he's coaching. Badgers are playing more up-tempo ball. But Nebraska's 9-0. They got wins over Oklahoma, New Mexico, K-State. Just beat Creighton by 21. And Rink Mast, their 6'10 senior, had 20 points in that game against Creighton. He's averaging 18 and 6. I think this Huskers team's legit. Now, Nebraska opened a small dog in this game, and is now basically a 1 or 1.5 point favorite. But I am on Nebraska tonight.
You're going to be in Kentucky and Nashville this weekend? Is that true?
Yeah, not for a Kentucky basketball game. No, I'm going to be there for Indy Jeff's birthday party. Indy Jeff Seeley is I can't remember what it is. You guys know that it's his 50th or his 60th?
Tough crowd.
Anyway, it's going to be. We're going to go to the Circus Sportsbook in Southern Kentucky. Super Dave Ross going to be the master of ceremonies, and we're going to watch the Army Navy game there, and then spend the weekend in Nashville watching football games. But happy birthday to Indy Jeff, and we're going to have a big group out there this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Paulie and I would be there, but hosting the Sunday morning show here now during the football season kind of wiped us out of making that happen this year. Have a great time down there, Matt, and best of luck this week.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
Thank you.
There you go. All right, so a bunch of bets there from Matty Ice. Nebraska and college hoops tonight. Now that's up to 2 here at Circa. Lumber just moved. Bowl games, playoffs, NFL, you name it.
I got good stuff for you.
Okay, in pocket next, and you're telling me right now that we're not going to believe who the favorite is to become the next Michigan football coach?
You got it.
Can't wait to hear this coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.